Sarah had always hated the night shifts at the hospital. At 28, 5 years into nursing, she'd seen it all. Patients delirious from medication withdrawal, desperate families weeping in hallways. But this December night would be different. St. Vincent's Hospital was particularly quiet. Only 3 patients on her floor, all stable and sleeping. Sarah walked through the empty corridors, her sneakers making muffled sounds on the worn linoleum. The fluorescent lights flickered intermittently, casting dancing shadows on the white walls. It was nearly 3 a.m. when she heard the first sound. Tap, tap, tap. Coming from the end of the hallway, from room 237. Strange, because room 237 had been empty for 3 weeks, since the last patient. Well, since he passed. Sarah hesitated for a moment, then walked slowly toward the sound. Her hands trembled slightly as she gripped her flashlight. The corridor lights had completely failed in that section. Room 237 was in complete darkness. The door stood slightly ajar, creaking softly in the breeze from the air conditioning. Sarah pushed it open slowly, illuminating the interior with her flashlight. Empty, as always, but something was different. The smell, a sweet, sickening odor, like wilted flowers mixed with something organic. And the temperature. The room was freezing, much colder than the rest of the hospital. Tap, tap, tap. The sound came again, but now from inside the room. Sarah directed her light toward the source, the window. Nothing there, just the curtain swaying gently. Must be the wind, she murmured to herself, trying to steady her nerves. That's when she heard the breathing. Slow, labored, like someone fighting for every breath, coming from the empty bed. Sarah shined her light on it, and her blood ran cold. The impression of a body was pressed into the mattress, as if someone had been lying there for a very long time. And the sheets were moving gently, rising and falling in a hypnotic rhythm. "Who's there?" Her voice came out as barely a whisper. The breathing stopped. The silence that followed was more terrifying than any sound. Sarah backed toward the door, but it slammed shut with a bang that echoed throughout the entire floor. Her flashlight flickered once and died, leaving her in complete darkness. In the absolute silence, she heard a voice, weak, hoarse, but unmistakably familiar. "Sarah, do you remember me?" It was Mr. Benedict's voice, the last patient in room 237, the 73-year-old man who had died alone on a rainy night while Sarah was on her coffee break. She had promised she'd be back in 10 minutes. She returned in 20. He was already gone. "You left me alone," the voice continued, now closer. "I called for you, screamed your name, but you weren't there." Sarah tried to reach for the door handle, but her hands found only cold wall. The door had vanished. "I was so afraid, Sarah, so very afraid, and I died alone, thinking you had abandoned me." The temperature plummeted further. Sarah could see her own breath forming small clouds in the frigid air. Her legs shook uncontrollably. "Please," she whispered. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I was just—" "Shh." The voice was now right at her ear. "Now you'll understand what it's like to be alone. What it's like to wait for someone who never comes." Sarah felt something ice-cold touch her shoulder. Long, bony fingers closed around her arm. The grip was strong, desperate, like someone drowning. "No," she screamed, struggling. "Let me go." The laughter that followed was low and melancholy. "Oh, my dear nurse, I'm not going to let you go, never again. Now you're going to stay here with me, forever." Sarah felt her feet leaving the ground. An invisible force pulled her toward the bed. She fought, screamed, but no one could hear her. The hospital was empty, silent as a tomb. The next morning, the day shift nurse found room 237, with the door locked from the inside. When they managed to open it, Sarah was on the bed, motionless, her eyes open, staring at the ceiling. Her face was pale, frozen, with an expression of absolute terror. The doctors said it was a sudden cardiac arrest. Work stress from night shifts, probably. But the other nurses knew the truth. Because every night, when the hospital falls silent and the lights flicker in the corridor, they can hear two types of breathing coming from room 237, one slow and labored, and another quick, desperate, from someone who can never relax, from someone who is forever on guard, forever alone with her guilt. And if you pass by St. Vincent's Hospital on one of those silent nights, you might hear a female voice desperately whispering, "Please, someone, don't leave me alone." But no one ever answers, no one ever comes, no one dares.